to Fast and Jams, the multi-franchise podcast here to entertain you. I am Leigh here, your host. I originally was just going to discuss Tales of the Underworld, but I wanted to add a bit with a classic Leigh twist. Oh yes, I'm going to talk a bit on Sam Witwer's show, Maul, as the success of the show is super important to the hype that I'm seeing, and I'm getting hyped. There is also good news for Doctor Who, as we're going to get an animation, but it's for kids. So let's get started. I'm going to begin with the main discussion point, Tales of the Underworld. As you already know, this was two sets of trilogy stories like the other Tales series, Jedi and Empire. This was focused on a sci-fi hero path after her resurrection. Cad Bane's rise to villainy was also in this set of episodes. I'm going to start with Cad's banners as he becomes a criminal and later the bounty hunter that we all know. He's living on the streets with his friend Nero as a kid. He's seen stuff to survive, and he's observed by this gangster guy called Lasso, whose activities split the dream team up when they do a crime when Nero is arrested, and he becomes marshal. Cad Bane joins Lasso's criminal group and later ends up murdering multiple characters, including his old friend Nero, in cold blood that led to his career into becoming a bounty hunter. He leaves behind his own son called Isaac. This isn't something I enjoy, but I gotta say, the character work is so good, and it stays low to Cad Bane's arc, which I think is cool. It's a western like The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett, which I've spoken about with critical acclaim on the podcast, and it's just as recognisable, but it's more darker. I find it sad that people Cad had trusted would later be his enemies as he goes the wrong way of the law. Nero is killed because of his actions, marrying Aaron, who was a friend of Cad's, and looking after his stepson, and that makes me hate Cad Bane more, as he was so obsessed with getting revenge for his mentor, then causing all these events that his own friends and blood end up hating him more, and his son witnessed the death of his stepfather, who he loved, and I feel sad for Isaac witnessing all this. I like that Nero's eyes did try to keep him safe as that's part of a community. That made me feel sorry for everyone because of Cad's actions. I like seeing Cad Bane as Colby and his actions as a child. This does shake up his future, and I think it's super important that we see him as a child. I think Corey Byrne did a great job as Cad, as he is always the voice of the character and excels, but this, to me, is his best performance to date. I think I will stop there because it can be a bit uncomfortable, but it's worth to share why this arc works. Let's move on to Miss Ventress. Asai Ventress is recruited by the Night Sisters and takes a job as a security guard on an unknown planet. She meets Leigh Strider there. She aims to get into the safety of the empath. She succeeds, but Lyko ends up staying for her and they head off for a new venture. Naked Fatman was one of the highlights after a performance in the Bad Batch last year. And I like the fact that Asai has a unique style, like the Mandalorian and the 15th Doctor, etc., and they stand out for who they are. And with female leads at the moment, there hasn't been much since Catherine Hahn, who delivered a phenomenal performance in And For All Along. Rosario Dawson could be the next actress, depending on what happens with Billy Piper in Doctor Who. Asai has shown why we need to see more female leads. Asai is a legend, and I like her reluctance to look after Lyko. Then she ends up protecting him from bounty hunters when they double-cross her deal, but she ends up breaking in and saving Lyko. Is one of those brilliant moments that I love. It's become the theme here. I love that they bring the path to TV as it's part of the extended universe, and it would be interesting if animation would expand on this and bring more lore to Star Wars. I love that Asai's episodes all link on from the previous episode and keeps us grounded. I think Lyko is an interesting character as he goes on a journey by asking Asai for help, and then he has a bit of uncertainty and is nearly bountied then to realising he wants to stay with Asai. I like that as it's so well written. Both arcs are strong and added more to our bounty hunters, and Matt Michalowicz did a great job. And speaking of Matt, the Radiant Kindness who have delivered once again, they're taking on a new challenge. Now, a few episodes ago I spoke about Maul, and I'm going to be talking about some new information that Sam Witwer, aka our Darth Maul, has spoken about. Maul's like, is that what Sid had in mind? This is a little scary. Maul comes from a time of swords and sorcery and magic and knights, and now all of that colour of the universe has been sucked out of this mechanized empire. And Maul's like, is this right? Is this the universe we're trying to build? I can see why Maul feels left out, and to be honest, I can see why he disagrees with guns and stuff. It'll be interesting to see why Maul is willing to stick with the ties. Honestly, I could kind of side with him on this, as there are things that don't really change, like in Doctor Who. I don't agree with the use of bringing back popular characters at this moment, which I'll expand later, so I can sympathise with Maul on this. The idea of it is that even though he is a bad guy, the fun of it is going right, but is he as bad as Tales of Vader? And the answer is actually no. From the Sith perspective, this guy has flaws, and these flaws are the things you are talking about. The humanity that seeps in various points, and some of this humanity that he did not have maybe early in Clone Wars, but because of the thing that have happened to him, he had rethought a lot of things. This excites me because it's a new side of Maul, and that's always going to be a good thing to see. I like that he's going to question himself, and when it happens with characters like Leigh or Shazia, which I think works so interestingly. So I am interested to see how this works with Maul. You have a guy who comes from the time of magic, but times have changed, and then he was born and raised to destroy the Jedi, but now they're gone, and he's seeing the alternative and going, is this better? I'm not sure if this is better. And also, boy, how do I feel now that I'm the Joker and Batman's dead? What does that feel like? This intrigues me as he is now without a purpose. We know he once served Sis, then was being in combat by Sis on Mandalore, and even though I don't like that specific plot point, but I get it. Looking at all of this, I do feel sorry for him, especially as he lost his brother in that duel. How is he going to fit in the age of the Empire? I don't know, and I can't wait to see. That's all I have for now, but when the trailer comes, expect me to talk more about Maul. Finally, a new Doctor Who spin-off is getting animated for Kids Channel series. This will be 52 episodes, the intersect of 26 episodes, and will last for 11 minutes. This is aiming to release, if it's successful, in 2027 to 2028 for part 1 and 2028 to 2029 for part 2. So 3 years of that, hoping if the project is able to go ahead. I don't get the negativity about this. I think that the universe is in so many different age groups from kids to adults. I think Doctor Who should be a family show, so you can have all these different age groups. Torchwood, not for no. Torchwood is for adults, and that's what the war between the Land of the Sea will be. And Class is for young adults, so I think it's good to have that difference with the shows being suited to a different audience. No matter what the style is with the series cartoon, I look at looks as a success. You have heard me rave about it, and they did a good job. Mr. Ring and Dink, aka Luxy Lux, aka Cuphead Look Like, was done in a good way. The Doctor and Melinda as cartoons was a hit, and She Get Well, Bryce Sefu, Alan Cummins, and behind the scenes crew did a great job. I can see the style being kid-friendly like Scooby-Doo, which is a good sitcom. It has to be young kid-friendly to make an impact. I am going to watch this even though I'm not in the age group, as I prefer to the more adult space, as this kind of does it for me. Search Adventures is the only spin that has that quality. It's going to be a wait, but hoping they use the time wisely to bring some magnificence for the younger viewers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Did you love Tales of the Underworld? Comment down below or at first to on social media as per usual. I think you'll be quite intrigued for my next episode, as it's going to be Doctor Who Podcast Day. Leigh is going to review the series that never finished, as well as the side series 2. I will discuss the team and of course the podcast favourite Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, who made a cameo, and hopefully there is more to come on 13th era, so stay tuned. I'm also going to explain what Billy can do to save Russell T Davies too, and what has Doctor Who got to do to return to dominance in a field of high quality stuff, including The Mandalorian and Grogu, which will come out next year. Thank you for listening. I will see you next time. Goodbye everyone. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Subscribe to Phasma and Jarins and stay tuned for more podcasts. See ya!